Congressman Comer, good to have you on. You've now spoken to numerous Biden associates and witnesses. You've laid out the Biden scheme to sell power very clearly. You've shown these payments, the checks we have here from James Biden to Joe Biden for loans that didn't exist. A witness you talked to recently, named Carol Fox, who was the trustee for the bankruptcy filed by a company called AmeriCorps Health, said that James Biden promised AmeriCorps access to a future Biden administration and the highest levels of government, and that his brother Joe Biden had been made aware of AmeriCorps, the business, which would be made profitable when it could become part of the Biden platform. I mean, this is so blatant, what's happening here. If this isn't impeachable, what is?
Well, this is securities fraud 101. Obviously, James Biden's the one that's going to take the hit, but Joe Biden knew all about it. Joe Biden met with the AmeriCorps people. That's part of how they operated their business model, Rob. They would either the president's son or brother would approach these people, and then they would bring Joe along. Joe would either call them on the phone, or Joe would either say hi to them, or come over and shake their hands, or have lunch at Cafe Milano. There would always be Joe Biden contact after the initial contact, and then the money would start changing hands. So this is another example of how the Biden's influence peddled. And another way we know Joe Biden is complicit in this, the $200,000 check that you just showed on your screen, that came from AmeriCorps Health. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. We have Jim Biden's personal bank records. We know that for about a 60-day period, he had about a $2,000 to $4,000 balance in his checking account. Then one day he gets the $200,000 wire from AmeriCorps Health, so it goes from $2,000 to $202,000. He writes Joe a check the same day he got the wire for $200,000 to Joe Biden for the exact same amount. Yeah. So that wasn't real hard to trace. You didn't have to have a fancy finance degree to trace that. But again, it shows Joe Biden made $200,000 from his family's influence peddling scheme.
It's so clear, and yet we have all of, the whole of the establishment press has ignored all this. And every Democrat in Congress is acting like this isn't real. What's it like to fight a fight where it doesn't matter what you come back with? There's no ability for them to even acknowledge reality.
I mean, it's hard to believe what I've witnessed over the last 9 months with the press corps. Right. We bring forth new evidence almost on a weekly basis, and it's damning evidence. I mean, that $200,000 came from influence peddling. And the fact that they're trying to say it was a loan, but they don't have any documentation or a check to prove it. If you paid me back, Rob, $200,000, then I should have a check to you for $200,000 at some point before you pay me back. Every American understands this, and the media thinks they can keep printing no evidence, no evidence, no evidence, and people are going to believe it. But 70% of the people realize that this stinks to high heaven, and they appreciate the fact that somebody's investigating that, and that somebody's the House Oversight Committee.
And you know what? And the truth is that in order to help keep this man in power, they are selling out decades of credibility. I mean, decades. I mean, these establishments have been around for a long time in this country, whether they're TV or print, and they have been building that credibility for decades. And to see them doing this in this moment, to me, as somebody that actually went to journalism school 20 years ago, that's why I keep talking about it, because I can't really believe that it's happening. I can't believe that all of these massive media companies that are owned by these massive corporations have been handed a mandate that they just cannot talk about this explosive story and this real evidence. One thing the media loves to repeat is that a lot of this money came in after Joe Biden left the vice presidency. He had recent testimony from the whistleblowers show emails involving Hunter and his partners working on deals for CEFC. This is the China money here from 2016 when Biden was still in office. They were working on this while Biden was in office. The money comes in 2017, real soon after he leaves the White House. And it's very clear, and it's very intelligent to do it this way. You would delay it till after you leave because you needed that. You needed to cover up, right? You can't be taking in millions of dollars from the Chinese while you're operating and working in the White House. It's pretty clear, and yet they pulled this on everybody, and the media is pretending to just be that gullible.
Yeah. Well, look. the China money, we know what triggered that. That's that WhatsApp message that the whistleblowers released, where Hunter Biden is sending the WhatsApp message to his Chinese national, implying that, look, we did all this stuff when Dad was vice president. You're supposed to pay up now that we left office. My dad's sitting beside me. If you don't send that money, then you're going to feel the full rage of the Biden family and the U.S. federal government. I mean, that's how blatant the Bidens were. That's extortion. The president's son extorted the Chinese national, our biggest enemy on the planet, claimed his dad was beside him. Who knows if he was beside him or not? That's a question that you would think a journalist would ask in the press room, but they haven't. And, you know, you mentioned the pitiful nature of the press corps. You know, there was a story in Politico Day, though, the morale is low at the Washington Post. They've had to lay off 10% of the workforce. The morale should be low. They produce junk. What they print is inaccurate. It's incorrect, and everybody knows it. And no one's going to do business with an inferior product. They produce an inferior product, and as a result, their morale is going to continue to go down because nobody's going to pay for their paper.
Just to give people an analogy to that, I mean, if these same people that are covering Biden corruption were covering a murder trial, here's how they would have to cover these. Well, you know, they found the guy. He had the gun. His fingerprints were on the gun. He was covered in blood. But, you know, police asked him if he killed the person. He said no. So, you know, it seemed pretty obvious that he didn't kill the person despite all the evidence. That's how they're covering this. I got one final question to you, and it's about Chuck Grassley, who's a senator I very much respect. He is saying that he has seen no evidence of Joe Biden doing anything wrong. But he also said there's no indication that he said that there is indication of compromise specifically with China. But he says he just doesn't have any evidence of it. But he's at the same time, he says there's no evidence that Joe Biden at this point has done anything wrong. What is going on with Chuck Grassley?
Well, it's a lot of senators, Rob. I mean, the senators are sending messages loud and clear, trying to spook the moderate Republicans. They don't want any part of an impeachment trial. I don't know if it's because they think we've got Biden on the ropes and they see what the Democrats are doing to Trump. You know, I think that what the Democrats did in Colorado this week will probably backfire, and Donald Trump's liable to carry Colorado now. I think it'll backfire that much. And I think there are a lot of senators, you know, these senators are smarter than the representatives. And I like Chuck Grassley, too, but it's not just Grassley. You've heard Lindsey Graham say stuff this week, obviously Romney, McConnell, all these guys. You know, they're like, all right, well, we'll let the American people decide. You know, that's not the way I see it. I see impeachable offenses. I see the fact that there's been not only countless crimes by the Biden family, there's been a cover-up by our federal government, and people need to be held accountable. We're going to keep moving forward, but these senators are making it very difficult.
I thought the same thing. I thought that they're kind of pretending because there's not, you know, there's not like, you know, it's not on video of him handing or taking money from the Chinese. Maybe they're saying, you know, we don't want the political liability of an impeachment because it can maybe buoy Joe Biden up. They don't want that. So I thought maybe that might be the reasoning, too. Congressman, I got to leave it there. But we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rob.
Merry Christmas.